Now, with GeekBrief, you go on and you talk about technology, you talk about consumer electronics, they're quick shows, you have a very unique format. How did you get big in a sense, and how does one do that in some place like Dallas, Texas? I mean, you're not in New York City, you're not in San Francisco.
Right.
Why Dallas of all places? Were you just here already?
Well, we started the show in Chicago, actually. When we quit our day job to do the show full-time, 5 months in, we decided that, because we were in self-storage, we lived where we worked, so we quit our job, we quit our house, so we had to move anyway. We decided to come back to Dallas where we lived before. And how did we grow? Basically, we started right when the first video iPod had just been released. We were a little lucky in that area, but it wasn't all luck. It was, in timing. It was in engaging people. It was never, like, one of my rules is never stop improving. We never stopped improving. We never stopped upgrading our equipment and our format. And, we're perfectionists in pretty much every way, and we never are happy with how we're doing. That's one of the major things. I think a lot of people do settle. They're like, well, it's only the web. This is okay. But I'm always trying to get to the point where if it were on TV, it would still be,
work.
The format itself wouldn't work, but, the production quality, the audio, the video, everything, we want to make it top-notch.
And in a way, like, the barriers of entry are lower now. Like,
Exactly.
I can go and I started a podcast on Blog Talk Radio like it's nothing.
Right.
But if you don't keep upgrading or making it better, then now even though the barriers of entry are lower, because you started at a time where, like with that video iPod, you got the timing right.
Yeah.
What can somebody, like, starting today do it, if you're starting from scratch? What would you recommend for them to do?
Well, I think you kind of have to think... Think about the fact that this is still a new medium. We're 4 years in almost to podcasting, to audio and video on the web that's really, really accessible. It's still very new, and there's still room for people to do amazing things that nobody else is thinking of. So think out of the box, or however you want to phrase that. Pick a format that keeps people interested, whether it's audio or video or blogging. You've got to think about, keeping people interested and keeping people engaged constantly. With video, one of the things that we do is change the shot. Change the shot, change the shot. People have very short attention spans. You don't change the shot every 2 seconds, but every 5 seconds. Every 7 seconds, I think, is the research that people have come up with. 7 seconds, something needs to be visually changing to keep people's interests.
I saw a video of you with Chris Brillo.
Yeah.
Where you're talking about kind of journalists versus bloggers. Journalists obviously see bloggers as this, like, lower being.
Right.
And they just see I'll say us, but they see us as these people that are just coming in and just writing whatever they feel.
Yeah. I think they see them as, lower, but also as a threat, because they don't understand it.
Right.
And it's fascinating to watch, because at the beginning, the old media, traditional media, were very, very scared of TV, of the internet. And now they're kind of embracing it to an extent, but they're still a little scared. They still don't understand why it's working so well, and so they're trying to figure it all out. And I believe that both the mediums can grow. Obviously, TV isn't going to be dead. The internet isn't going to wipe out TV, just like TV didn't wipe out the radio, just like the radio didn't wipe out newspapers. But we can create this parallel of working together and promoting each other. And I'm really excited to see us do that. But it's gonna take a little while for TV people to kind of understand where bloggers are coming from and embrace that. But they are with Twitter, and that's pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, and like, it seems like before bloggers had to become journalists,
Yeah.
or you know, you have to be so good that you became a journalist. Now it seems like all journalists have a blog,
Yeah.
and now they all Twitter, and
Right.
they don't even know what Twitter is, but
Right.
they have 500,000 followers or something, and they count that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a few that actually are doing blogging better than bloggers.
Yeah.
Do you think that at some point it'll be that bloggers will just go back to being the lesser being, and some of the people that are ahead, you already said no. So solve the question.
Sorry.
But where do we go from here?
I think everything will kind of mesh in working together and exposing each other. And, you know, you'll have your set-aside journalists and you'll have your set-aside bloggers, people who don't go into that mesh, into that net almost. But we'll all just figure out how to kind of work together and to promote each other, hopefully. I mean, that would be my hope. And as we move forward, I think people will continue to get better and better and better at what they do. So, you know, the bloggers that are lacking in journalism experience or whatever, if they want that, then they can kind of work their way into that. If they want to become a journalist, you know, I really do see a meshing of talents.
Right. Do you what do you get excited about in the future of technology? Because you obviously talk about what's already out there
Right.
all the time, news, you know, new gadgets, new websites, things like that. What would you like to see in the future of tech and the web?
Well, I'm really excited about augmented reality, for one. 2 years ago, I moderated a panel on 4G for Alcatel-Lucent in Vegas. Alcatel-Lucent is the company really primarily working towards 4G. We've got 3G, and 4G is even faster. I mean, it's amazing, the stuff that they're working on. And that was my first kind of exposure to all of what 4G is all about. And within that, because augmented reality, basically virtual reality on top of reality, is going to need 4G to really work ultimately. But already we're taking steps towards having augmented reality on our phones, you know,
Right.
and that's really cool to see. Just there are some apps out there, even on the iPhone, that will give you augmented reality. And so just seeing that and how it will influence our lives in the future.
Yeah.
Pretty fantastic.
Because it seems like advertisers are really excited about it.
You know, that's the obvious implementation for augmented reality. And I'm even excited about it. It's advertising.
Yeah.
You know, so of course advertisers are excited about it because all of us are excited about augmented reality, and that's the first thing that will happen with it is advertising. And then we'll start to figure out other ways to use augmented reality in our daily lives. But
Right.
advertising is so obvious with
Yeah.
that.
You could even use it in like retail. Like you could have a
You can
point
use
of
it in retail.
purchase and have a thing where you see.
Yeah.
It's
It'll be good for a lot of businesses.